Hi, this is Wilna, and welcome to Wednesday with Wilna. And today is really Wednesday with Wilna because I'm doing a Q&A, question and answers on my blog today. So the reason why I'm doing it is because all my supplies, or most of my supplies, are packed up in a box, and I'm going to Denver on Sunday for a couple of days to record an online class in real life. So I thought it's a good exercise in just talking to the camera. Plus, then you can get used to how I look, so it's not a surprise for you when you see me in the craftsy.com class. This is going to be a wonderful workshop. I'm so excited. Okay, it's almost like a higher grade art class. So I'm doing a couple of projects, but I'll tell you more about it later on. Let's first see, maybe they don't think I'm funny enough or something and they don't want to do the class, so we'll see. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Another thing I want to mention is that the color theory workshop available on Studio Calico, registration is open, but it closes in a couple of days, I think in 3 days. So if you want to get into that workshop, do it. It's self-paced, so even if you don't have time now, you can do it later, but you can't purchase it later. So it's a good idea just to get into it. It's going to be a wonderful, fun-filled, jam-packed workshop. There's so much happening in that, so it's going to be awesome. Right, on Instagram, I asked a question that I'll do a question and answers today, and if people have questions, they can ask me, and I'm so surprised. Thank you for all the questions. I don't think I'll be able to answer all of them, but I'll answer a couple. So the first question was, what is your favorite art medium and why? And I have to say, if I have to go to an island and I can only take one thing with me, I'll take black India ink bottle and a paintbrush, so that I can paint on the trees and I can write and I can script and I can design things. And that's my favorite thing. It's basically my go-to medium in my studio, little studio. I have multiple bottles of black ink everywhere, so I can find them easily, and I just love it. I think it's the basics of what I do. It's almost like a doctor's stethoscope to me is my black ink and my round brush. So that's my favorite thing. Right, the next question is, when you sit down to make a scrapbook page, what design elements or principles do you use? Do you mentally plan it out? And I can honestly say, for me, form follows function. I think I've just been working with companies for so long that whenever I get new product, that determines most of what I do and the direction I'm going into. Since I've been starting to work more for me, and use more art mediums, usually the art medium of choice of that day determines more what I do, as well as my love for silhouette cut files. So that will also be a determination. But if you watch my videos, you'll see that I love to go with the flow, whatever the product, the direction the product wants to go in, I follow that. It's more intuitive process for me. But then again, I've been doing it for so long, and that's basically what I do. So I think it gets easier the more you do it. But I do not plan everything out. I might draw products, put it on a layout and see how it goes, and maybe get a vague idea. But most of the time, it never works out as I plan. So I found that planning is redundant for me. I don't plan too much. That being said, if you are a scrapbooker that loves to plan, then the process works for you. And I think to each its own. I'm not saying it's wrong. I just say, for me personally, I'm not a big planner. I love the intuitive process, and I love to see and to be surprised. I love to be surprised by how things turns out. And I think if you watch my videos, you probably see that a lot. So the next question, Julie Loves Paper asks, which mixed media tools would you recommend for beginners? And don't worry, it's a great idea to answer some questions. Thank you, Julie. I'm glad you think it's a great idea for me to answer some questions because I had some serious doubts about it. But anyway, so mixed media for beginners. If you're just starting out, I would say get some gelatos, get some watercolors, and start playing with those. I think gelatos is the number one thing that I would recommend for beginners. And there's a few reasons for it. The one thing is it's very gentle on paper, so you don't get that terrible ruffle effect. But it's also a little bit you have to practice with it to get it right. So, you know, I had someone ask a question on Instagram like, why aren't my gelatos coming out like yours? And I just said to her, you have to color a little harder and use a little less water maybe. But sometimes, you know, it takes practice to get something right, and especially with gelatos, but the result is phenomenal and I just absolutely love it, you know. So I think that's what I would recommend for beginners to start with, is get some gelatos and start to play. Another question here, Jana Furstenberg asks, who's your favorite, me, Tia, or Kirsten? So Jana Furstenberg, I just want to say to you that I do have a favorite child, but I'm not going to tell you who it is. Right, someone else asks me how long have I been scrapbooking and how long have I been in the hobby, and the quick answer is I started in 2003 and I fell in love with scrapbooking from the first day, and I'm still in love with it. It's just one of the best things in the world, and I get so annoyed when people think that idea of scrapbooking is, you know, like they make fun of the scrapbookers in the movies, and it's almost like an insult, like find a hobby like scrapbooking, and that just hurts my heart. And I'm a fierce campfighter for scrapbooking, and I just love the hobby. Someone else asks this wonderful question, which I instantly knew I wanted to answer. Any tips for using up your stashes rather than being tempted to purchase all the new product that we see constantly being released? How do you make your stash new again? Thanks. So I would really say there's a couple of ways that you can make your stash new. In the color theory workshop, in the last lesson that we do, I'll show you one technique, and that's just to recolor your embellishments. I mean, paint them, work with them. I never ever throw away any of my chipboard, that chipboard ephemera thingies. I love keeping them, even if there's just a couple of pieces left, because I know at some stage I'm going to take them out and use them on a layout, even if I have to emboss them or redo them or recolor them or work with them in a way. So that is one way of doing it, is to repurpose your stash. The other way that I love, because remember, I live in a very small town in Canada, and I don't have the option of just going and shopping for the newest product. Usually when I order it, it takes 2 or 3 weeks just to get to me. So I'm also, you know, new product starved all the time. But one thing that I've also learned is to dive into your stash and to actually open the packages and to use the products. And that was very hard for me in the beginning, because, you know, you would get this beautiful package of butterflies and it's so pretty and you just don't want to use it, you know. So my advice would be to open the packages and get into your stash, and to keep even the leftover pieces that you know you love, and to look into your stash first before you go online and order new product. I'm a very big fan of repurposing and of using what you have. That to me is just who I am, and you can ask my family as well. That's just one thing that I love to do. So someone asks, what do you do when your creative muse has taken a vacation? Looking at a blank page, it remains a blank page. I know that feeling so well. And I know sometimes, you know, you want to be creative, but where do you start? What do you do to just get that creative juices flowing? again. So I think there's a couple of things you can do. The first thing is watch some videos. I always go online and I'll look for something to inspire me, like an art technique or your favorite YouTube video channel. Go and watch a video. Watch one of my videos, of course. I love going on Pinterest, just looking at not necessarily scrapbook layouts, but other ideas. Sometimes a photo of a home can inspire me to make a scrapbook layout. Another thing to do, and this is honestly something that I do, is I would take, I buy packets of American Craft heavyweight white cardstock, but I buy the little boxes. You can find them. I'll link them in the related products below this video on my blog, and go to scrapbook.com and buy a package of white cardstock. I think they're on sale now for $14 or something. And I just bought 4 packets this morning, and there's 50 pages in one packet, I think. So that gives me 200 pages to play with. And I would sometimes just take out like a little stack of white cardstock and just start to play with it. I'll just draw on it with gelatos and I'll paint on others. It's the cheapest canvas you can buy, and that sometimes just sparks something in your heart, and get that creative juices flowing. Another thing that works for me personally is the more I work, the more inspiration I get. And it took me a long time to figure it out, but it's absolutely the truth. Is once I get going, it gets easier, and it gets easier to pick up where I left off. And the last thing I want to recommend is to do something that you don't usually do. If you are a minimalist scrapbooker and you love clean and simple scrapbooking, just try making a messy page one time. You don't have to show it to anyone. You don't have to put it in your albums. You can throw it away afterwards. But just force yourself to do something that you're not necessarily prone to do, and you will be amazed at how it infuses you, your creativity. It infuses you with enthusiasm, with fun, loving ideas. It's the weirdest thing, and I talk about this also in the color theory class a little bit, is how just trying something new. You might look at my scrapbook videos and think, oh, but I'll never do that. It's just not who I am. And I want to dare you to do it, and you will be amazed at how it does translate into your own style later on. Even though you don't use mixed media, you will see something will change. You will go to a higher level of creativity, and that is just by trying something new. So I hope this helps you, and this is just what I found over the years of living a creative life. What is the relationship for you between scrapbooking and emotion? And I can honestly answer this and say that to me is super important. So I think there's 2 main lines in scrapbooking right now. One is the project life approach that does more like the a timeline of your life. So from there's a beginning, a middle, and an end to every week, every month, every year in a way. And it's more of a chronological approach. And then the type of scrapbooking I do is more of a Kairos type of approach, where it's more of a moment. I scrapbook a moment, not necessarily a time or a chronological order. I hardly ever scrapbook birthdays or those main events. I'll make maybe one layout and have a moment of that day that I remember and mention it in it. But I'm a Christian, and I love to install faith into my girls, and I'm one of those people that I don't want to push it down their throats. I want to teach them the principles and leave them to figure out the details. But on my scrapbook layouts, I write them the details. You know, I just think it's my platform where I can write my heart out about everything that I believe to them, and they will read it in their own time, and when they read it enough, they'll absolutely know what I stand for and what I do. Not that they don't know now, they absolutely do know. But I think it's a different thing. You know, someone once said, a man convinced against his will is of the same opinion still. And I think that sometimes when they read something, it convinces them from the inside out. And that's why I do connect emotionally on a faith-based way to my scrapbook layouts. And that is why I call my brand Heart, is because it really does encompasses my heart with my art. And I just, that's just what I love to do. I don't have a problem, again, with anyone that does chronological scrapbooking, but just for me, I've always loved to write a lot. When I was in school, growing up, even to this day, I keep a journal. I write hundreds and thousands of words in my journals. I have been keeping journals for the last 20 years, so writing is a part of my life. I just love to do it. And to do it on a scrapbook layout makes it extra meaningful to me. So that is, to me, the way that I connect emotionally with my girls also. And to use scrapbooking as that outlet is absolutely phenomenal to me. So someone asks, I'm curious about your past design education. I know you mentioned going shortly for architecture. And someone else also asked, do you have any formal art training? I did study architecture for 2 years. That's where I learned to write. So my dad paid very dearly for my handwriting. But after 2 years, one of my lecturers came to me and he said to me, Wilna, if this is what architecture is doing to your soul, go and study art. I guess in the early 90s, going for just to study art, fine arts, was so frowned upon. And I'm just so thankful that I pushed through and I did it. And I finished a 4-year degree in at the Fine Arts Department in South Africa, University of Pretoria. Looking back, those 4 years were some of the best years of my life. And I majored in painting, and a year ago, or a little bit more than a year ago, I started to do paintings again. And I hope that going forward, I can just paint more and more and more. I would love to paint. I have 2 paintings on exhibition right at the moment in our little city. So I'm very happy that it's starting out again for me. So I got quite a few questions about silhouette cuts and how to get your cuts right and work with the silhouette. And I'm not going to answer any questions about that now, but I just want to say, when I get back from Denver, the first thing I want to do is do a very brief overview and a little silhouette workshop that will probably be available on iheartstudio.ca for free. And that is just for me, for reference, because I do get a lot of emails from people asking me, having issues with silhouette cuts, how to cut the files properly and intricately. And I think I'm just going to do a little workshop that explains everything to you, and it's going to be a great reference as well. And I think it will make my life easier and yours as well. So look out for that. Did you know that Michelle Pfeiffer is actually the third line in Uptown Funk lyrics? That song, it's one of my favorite songs. I actually know the words because we were driving down the road with the girls. We're always on the, driving back and forth, and whenever a song comes up, they'll just sing it and they know every single word. So one day I decided I'm going to learn the words from Uptown Funk and I'm going to surprise them. when we drive again and the song comes up, and oh my gosh, they were so surprised. They really were. So, but I didn't know that Michelle Pfeiffer is the third line in that song. So when you listen to it again, just listen for that. I'm not going to rap it for you right now, so I'm just not going to do that. So thank you so much for watching my little questions and answers video. I think I might do it again in 6 months or so, whenever my stuff is packed up again. There's really a lot of questions I didn't answer, but I do hope that the ones that I answered covered a lot of ground for you. I guess I'll see you in a couple of weeks. I'm in Denver for the next week, so I'm not going to be making a video, but once I get back, I hope to get back to more regular Wednesday videos. So thank you so much for visiting me. Thank you for watching me, and thank you for your love. I really, really appreciate it. Bye.